Hello friends, so this is one of the last few trips that I made from my first rented apartment in Bangalore. So this is me coming out of our gate. The name of this apartment was Mayfair Anthem, and this was extremely close to my office. So just out of the apartment and across the road you can see Embassy Tech Village. That's Flipkart's building, right next to which my current office is. So that's how close to my office I stayed for like 1.5 years. The entire wave 2 and wave 3 I spent in this apartment only, where the distance to my office was just to cross the road. Anyway, I am currently out of that apartment. I have moved out, but still. So the first 1.5 year journey to office avoided the entirety of the infamous Bangalore traffic, but now that's a thing of the past. So this video also features my father and my cousin who were visiting me at that time. So, and this also includes a very special thing that today, as I am editing this video, I am able to finalize. So this is also the first video where me and my dad and my cousin, we went randomly for house hunting in the midst of a trip. So we are going to Hogenakkal today, and on the way to Hogenakkal the road basically passes through Sarjapur, and I was just randomly discussing with my father that there are real estate and properties coming up in and around Sarjapur which were much more affordable and cheaper compared to the other parts of Bangalore. My father suggested, why don't we just take a look around these places. So that's where we were having breakfast early in the morning, and this breakfast restaurant is supposedly going to be the closest thing to my apartment as I speak, right? So I opened up my phone and searched for properties near me, right? So while we were passing through Sarjapur Road, we saw numerous ads, hoardings across the road of all the properties coming up. So that's when I searched for new properties coming up, and that's when I found my current dwelling place, my dream house, the one that I purchased, my first big investment. So all those things happened right during the conversation that we had over breakfast. So you can see some glimpse of this apartment, so which is supposed to become my dwelling place, my first own dwelling place. There you can see my dad and Utlu already having a look around the place. So it was not a simple process. Getting a home is not a simple process in Bangalore or in any other place. You will look across, and although this was the first property that we saw, I saw numerous other properties. So I'll make a separate video on all the properties that I have been to. But at the end of the day, and by various strange turn of events, I mean, those are so extreme and so unfathomable. A lot of events happened between this day and the day I actually made the booking, which was on Ganesh Chaturthi. So the purchase process deserves a dedicated video on its own, which I'll come up with pretty soon. So the handover of this property is in December. So by that time I'll have something ready. Anyway, let's get the video started. I will have a separate video for my home. So as you can see, our welcome into the Cauvery National Park was done by a family of our closest friends. Luckily we had some bananas that we handed out over to the smartest one, and he had a hearty meal. So again, the journey from Bangalore till Hogenakkal Falls is plush with greenery all around. At the Tamil Nadu side of the border of Hogenakkal Falls. This is where last time also we came, but that time the falls were closed because of COVID, and this time also we saw a lot of police guards at the border. First we thought that we won't be able to cross into the waterfall, but then they are taking money, they are taking bribes. So pay something, then only they will let you pass towards the Karnataka gate, and from there I think you should be able to get into the falls. Let's see. The car just in front of us, so there were these numerous local checkposts where people were randomly connecting any fee that they wanted. So there were like few points where we had to pay like 50 bucks, 100 bucks, and even the police were taking like a few $100 just to let the cars pass through. Anyway, with Hogenakkal, just like I told, I have a very difficult pass. So this time also, although I reached the town, but again the falls entry from Karnataka's side was completely closed. So there was no option left for us but to turn around and then see what we could do. At this point of time, as you can see me driving through Hogenakkal town, we were completely clueless on how to reach the falls, because we didn't know what to do. The car was with us. There was this steel gate that has been placed, beyond which we couldn't travel to the falls. We could hear the sound of the falls, but then because it was like a kilometer's walk from where the car we could park, it was difficult for us to go. My father was also with us, and I was not sure whether we can walk that far with him. So finally we had to turn around and then start randomly thinking of what way out can we think now. So again, fate had a different game planned for us. On our way back from Hogenakkal Falls, it started raining a bit, and by this time we were quite hungry. So we noticed some cars parked outside by the side of the river. So we just curiously went towards those cars, thinking that it was some restaurant where we could have some food. And by that time it was also raining quite heavily, and there we saw that there was a impoverished ghat from where this circular boats called I don't know what the name was. Parcel, yep. So these parcels were taking some of the passengers towards the Karnataka side of the river. So on the other side of the river is Karnataka, and from Karnataka we could move towards the waterfall to some extent, although not directly into the waterfall, which could be done only during the non-rainy season or during winters, but still we could move nearer to the fall and we can view the sights. So that's where we finally reached, and then the story I'll continue after we have some good meal. So however, because of the scarcity of boats and because of the government restrictions, the charge that the boatman would take from us was excruciatingly high. Like he was charging like 2,000 rupees from regular passengers and the regular tourists, but with some sort of bargaining done by my father, we were able to make him agree to 1,500 bucks, provided we take up the additional costs of paying up the police if we were caught. So after a lot of bargaining with him, we were into the river. কেমন ভালো লাগছে বাবা?
মুখে দিতে ভালো
ভালো না?
যে মানে কোনো জুগার চান্স নাই,
আর সোফার মতো লাগে, সোফায় বসে সব
নৌকায় অনেক রিস্ক থাকে এই দেশের মধ্যে, এগুলো ঘুরবো কিন্তু কোনো অন্যরকম হবে না, ফ্লোটিং হয়ে যাবে।
হ্যাঁ আচ্ছা
আচ্ছা।
So as you can see, my father was enjoying this ride a lot. It's such a good pleasure to see him happy all the time. So it has been a dream that everyone in our family has, just to see him happy all the time. But for some reason or the other, he would be upset all the time. So it has been a lifelong hardship for us, me, my sister, my mom, and everyone else in the family to keep him happy. Anyway, this was one of the few rides that made him extremely happy, and he enjoyed it a lot. So our boatman was telling us that these are the very same forests in which Birappan used to roam. He used to do all those sandalwood smuggling and all. So there were lots of other stories that our boatman was telling us, but because of the language barrier, we were not able to understand. Although he was trying his best to explain to us how things were. So yeah, he also tried to put up his best effort to explain to us in Hindi. And yeah, whatever tidbits of information we got, it was a good conversation with him. Route to Hogenakkal Falls is not easy. So the boatman first helped us cross the river from Tamil Nadu side to Karnataka side. From there we had to walk around 500 meters or so, while at the same time he carried the parcel on his back. So that's how the thing is. So we walked, he carried the parcel on his back. Then at another point nearer to the falls is where he put the parcel back on the water. We rode back on the boat, and then we finally moved towards a viewpoint that was created in the middle of the river, right above the waterfall. And finally we would be reaching the waterfall, and then let's enjoy the views from around the waterfall. So this part of the falls where you can see water tumbling down from the river from all the sides. So this is where if you visit during the winters or during the non-rainy season, you can take a parcel right inside. So it's much better, so you can see the track, right? You can take a parcel and then move through the rocks on both the sides into the waterfall. But because of the level of water was extremely high, because of all the rain that has happened over the past few weeks, we were not allowed to get into this part. So even the second trip of Hogenakkal was also not completely fulfilling. So I have to visit one more time if I get a chance in this life to visit the place again, and then take a boat right into this crack which is the picturesque view that we see in so many movies and so many of the documentaries that have been done for the Cauvery National Park. Now back from the viewpoint, we again went towards Karnataka bank, and the boatman with the parcel over his head just looked like a tortoise running over the land. It was such a funny sight. But then yeah, our trip was not over. So we found one place where the water was literally shallow, and we saw a couple of guys taking a dip into the water. And what can stop me if I have an option of getting into the water? So soon enough, both me and Gudlu we were into the rivers of Cauvery taking our serene dips. So again, one more dream fulfilled. So it was last time also when I taken a dip in the Cauvery. This time also completely unplanned, but some way or the other, fate found its way to make me dive into the river. Fresh. So today we had three multiple climaxes. When we were about to reach Hogenakkal at the checkpost, the policeman told us that the falls are closed because of heavy rains and lots of water. Still we paid the toll and we proceeded. At the falls itself, again the policemen they literally took some extra, what is it called, adjustment from us to let us go right to the fall. Now finally when we reached the fall, the road was blocked by some concrete blockages, so we couldn't proceed further, and we lost all hope that even this time also we won't be able to go to the waterfall. So we started on our way back. Then we found some more local boatmen who were pushing that yes, rides are possible. After a lot of bargaining, 1500 they took and 200 more at each of the two police checkposts. So one side of the river is Tamil Nadu, the other side is Karnataka, and the rupees which we had to give. Finally we reached the falls, and not only did we get a great view of the fall, we were also able to take bath in the Cauvery river right beside the waterfall. So from nothing to we got more than what we had even dreamt of. So that's how life is. I mean, it's by fluke that we got more than what we wanted. But then even if we had not got anything, still I would have been happy that I at least came here with my father. So I thought that the trip was over, but the trip was not over yet. So as soon as we got back into the parcel to cross into Tamil Nadu again, it started raining extremely heavily. I mean, you can see the droplets of rain right on the river. So we were completely drenched. We tried to take some shelter on these huge trees that were there in the river. So these trees were literally in the river. We took some shade for a few moments and then we started again. But then that didn't help. And as soon as we were back into the river, it started raining heavily again. So there was nothing that could save us from the water. But yeah, my clothes were already wet, and so was Gudlu's father was already also drenched in rain. So we did enjoy whatever God had thrown to us. So we again enjoyed that ride back into the Cauvery river, back towards the other bank, with heavy rain falling on us from above. So what can beat this kind of experience? So by this time it was evening and we were freezing cold. I mean, with all the water on our bodies and the way the temperature has dropped, everything was freezing. But yeah, it was finally time for us to say goodbye to this beautiful parcels and then head back towards our journey to Bangalore.